The 2011 Fukushima nuclear disaster in Japan was the second worst nuclear accident in history after Chernobyl. More than a decade later, the story
Opened its doors for nuclear cooperation talks, beginning with the United States. According to the White House,
an American company's proposal to set up nuclear reactors in the Philippines gets mixed reactions from experts and local government officials. Details from
Energy is one of the most basic necessities in the world today. It enables the use of several things which humans use in their everyday lives, such as computers, transportation, and communications. It comes in several forms, such as chemical, radiant, electrical, mechanical, thermal, and nuclear. This video will focus on exploring nuclear energy. According to the International Atomic Energy Agency, nuclear energy is a form of energy released from the nucleus, which is the core of atoms that are made up of protons and neutrons. It is not renewable, but because it does not produce greenhouse gases, it is a low-carbon fuel. Nuclear energy is the second largest source of low-carbon electricity worldwide. It now provides about 10% of the world's electricity from about 440 power reactors. This form of energy can be produced in two ways, through nuclear fission and through nuclear fusion. The splitting of an atom's nucleus into two or more smaller nuclei through a process known as nuclear fission generates nuclear energy. And this chain of reaction is called the chain reaction. It releases a large amount of energy in the form of heat, which can then be used to generate electricity. This process takes place in a power station. This is done in a nuclear reactor where nuclear fuel, usually uranium which is mined from the earth, is placed in a controlled environment and bombarded with neutrons. This causes the uranium atoms to split, releasing energy. The heat energy generated by this process is used to produce steam and boils water, which drives a turbine and generates electricity ready for use. On the other hand, nuclear fusion is described as the process by which two light atomic nuclei combine to form a single heavier one while releasing massive amounts of energy. Fusion reactions take place in a state of matter called plasma, a hot charged gas made of positive ions and free-moving electrons that has unique properties distinct from solids, liquids, and gases. Producing nuclear energy through nuclear fusion is very hard to achieve on Earth. Regardless, scientists and engineers worldwide continue to test and experiment to achieve fusion energy for power consumption. The process of generating nuclear energy is complex, but with proper safety measures in place, it can be a safe and efficient way to generate electricity.
While there are several benefits in using nuclear energy, it also has various disadvantages that cannot be overlooked due to its nature. Some of its advantages include low operating cost. Once a nuclear power plant has been built, the cost of producing electricity is relatively low compared to other sources of energy. Reliable and consistent power source. Nuclear power plants can operate 24/7, providing a stable source of electricity with minimal interruptions. No greenhouse gas emissions. Unlike traditional fossil fuel power plants, nuclear power plants do not produce carbon dioxide or other greenhouse gases that contribute to climate change. It is a clean and efficient source of electricity that does not emit greenhouse gases, which makes it a great alternative to fossil fuels. High energy output. Nuclear energy is a very efficient source of energy, producing a lot of power from a small amount of fuel. Reduced dependence on foreign oil. Because nuclear power plants do not rely on other fossil fuels, countries that use nuclear power energy can reduce their dependence on foreign oil and increase their energy independence. Additionally, nuclear energy can help with medical applications such as in the treatment of cancer and other diseases. On the other hand, here are just a few of the important disadvantages to consider when evaluating the use of nuclear energy. Radioactive waste. Nuclear energy creates radioactive waste that remains dangerous for thousands of years. Without proper storage and disposal, these waste can contaminate soil, water, and air. Accidents. Although rare, nuclear accidents can be catastrophic and have long-term effects on the environment and human health. Fukushima and Chernobyl are two examples of nuclear accidents that had devastating consequences. High upfront costs. Building a nuclear power plant requires significant upfront costs that can take years to recoup. This can make nuclear energy less economically viable compared to other sources of energy. Limited uranium supply. Uranium is the primary fuel used in nuclear reactors, and there is a finite supply of this element. As the demand for nuclear energy grows, there is a risk of running out of uranium. Nuclear proliferation. The technology and materials used in nuclear energy can be used to develop nuclear weapons. This raises concerns about nuclear proliferation and potential for nuclear war. Nuclear energy receives masses of criticisms, but we actually do not know that it could be our long-lost answer to our never-ending problems with the environment regarding climate change and global warming.
By 2040, the Philippine Department of Energy projects that peak electricity consumption will have more than tripled. According to the Philippine Energy Plan, energy security is a top concern for the government. The country's largest gas source, Malampaya, is gradually being depleted, making self-sufficiency more difficult as demand for oil from the transport industry and demand for coal for power generation rises. The Ferdinand Marcos administration decided to construct a nuclear reactor with two 600 megawatts electric units. The plant was never fueled or turned on due to financial problems and worries about earthquakes. After the Chernobyl disaster in April 1986, newly elected President Corazon Aquino made the decision to shut down the plant. There are 3 laws in the Philippines that relate to nuclear energy. First is Republic Act No. 2067, also known as the Science Act of 1958. It is an act that aims to integrate, coordinate, and intensify scientific and technological research and development and to foster invention, to provide funds therefore and for other related purposes. The second one is Republic Act No. 5207, also known as the Atomic Energy Regulatory and Liability Act of 1968. It provides for the licensing and regulation of atomic energy facilities and materials, establishing the rules on liability for nuclear damage and for other related purposes. Third is the Presidential Decree No. 1586, which establishes an environmental impact statement system including other environmental management-related measures. There is also an existing bill which is a consolidated substitute bill for a comprehensive atomic regulatory framework, and it establishes an independent regulatory body to oversee the various uses of nuclear technologies, provides a rigorous physical safety regulatory framework for the safe use of nuclear energy, and additional safeguards for the non-proliferation of nuclear weapons in our country and the world. If this bill is passed and becomes a law, the Philippines would be one step closer towards using nuclear energy. We should think about our everyday activities and reflect on how much we rely on electricity and energy, from turning on the light to charging our cell phones. We have the responsibility to keep energy and electricity in our homes, workplaces, and cities, but we have also the obligation to take care of our nature, the Mother Earth. Therefore, we also need to make sure that we are using environmentally friendly and low-carbon emission energy. There are drawbacks to nuclear power. However, nuclear energy has the potential to greatly benefit our lives and help us achieve a more sustainable future.